All right, here we are. Number 2 of 3 in the mini series for the RNAV. So just to give you a quick orientation, we're going from Tampa to Orlando. Here's just kind of where we're at. You can see Orlando off to our east about 40 miles. And then Tampa to our southwest for about 40 miles. We're coming up on the approach area for Orlando. We are right now level at 7,000. We are on a heading. So 060. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and demo a approach controller that is going to vector us, and then at some point is going to clear us direct to the initial approach fix. And we're going to be going into 18 left, which is not often used runway for approaches, but we're going to use it. You can see it's got the steps in here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to have the controller quasi clear us to ZANTI at or above 4,000 feet and clear for the RNAV runway 18 left approach. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. You know, we've seen this before where we get vectored in. And let's go ahead and, because right now what will probably end up happening, we'll get something like this. Silver Wings 333, descend and maintain. Actually, what are we? We're 233. Silver Wings 233, descend and maintain 5,000 feet, maintain present heading. And so we'll go descend 5,000, maintain present heading, Silver Wings 233. And so here we go. And so we're going to go ahead and go down to 5,000. And if we want to go VNAV, we can't. He's like, well, why? I'll hit it. It says select LNAV because we're on heading mode. So whenever we're on heading mode, right, we have to VS us down. So let's go ahead and pull back to power. Let's go 10,000, or excuse me, 1,000 foot per minute. And we'll keep that going down to 5,000. We'll maintain present heading. There looks to be some rough weather ahead, but it ain't showing up on our Okay. So, yeah, so here we are. We're coming up on 6,000 now. And we're descending to 5,000. So this is an approach that is very typical for the RNAV, right? You'll have initial approach fix, and then you'll have an intermediate fix at the same altitude. And then you have the step down to the final approach fix. Now, on some of the larger ones that we've seen, Orlando has it, it's a straight continuous descent angle. But we decided not to demo that. We're going to demo this one. So we've been in the air for about 17 minutes now. We are getting ready to level off. Pull the power a little bit more. It's interesting how anyway, we don't get the descent checklist. When we're in heading mode, I think. Let's just go ahead and hit it, recall. Landing elevation is set. FMS and nav. Yep. All right. So what are we at? We're at 300 feet. Call it 300 feet. LPV. Let's go ahead and keep our power up. Whoops. 300 feet. All right. Here we go. Silver Wings 233, turn right, heading 070. Okay. Right 070, Silver Wings 233. All right, so just a couple things. It's 4,000 feet on our missed approach. Final approach goes to be 185. Final approach fix is at 2,200 feet. And there we are at 300 feet is our missed. 96 feet is the touchdown zone. ZANTI, 4,000 feet. And you can see here, this simulates, what's this simulating is that we've gone through an arrival and we've gone through a last waypoint and it's vectors at that point, right? So we've all been there, right? We've gone through that last waypoint on arrival and there's these squiggly lines with arrows, and that signifies ATC is going to vector us. And so that's what's happening. We're on the vectors. And for whatever reason, they haven't cleared us direct to ZANTI yet. Maybe it's traffic, maybe it's separation or whatnot. But, you know, away we go. So we got this. Here we go. We do want to make sure that we have everything in on our approach. So we have, here's our approach, 18 left. We have our winds are in. 130 at 9er, and we have our QNH inches at 30.03. VAP will be 106, and we are going full flaps. All right, so we've been briefed. So here's what's going to happen. Let's say we go ahead and we get this. Silver Wings 233, direct to ZANTI at or above 4,000 feet, cleared for the RNAV, runway 18 left. Direct to ZANTI at or above 4,000 feet, cleared RNAV, runway 18 left. Okay, so here we go. That's what we get. And so we can go direct to ZANTI, execute, hit the nav, and we should be getting a right-hand turn. And there it is. You can see the flight director coming in. And we are now going direct to ZANTI. All right, so a couple things to make note of. You can see the top of descent. So we're at 5,000 feet, right? And so it said we need to cross ZANTI at 4,000, at or above 4,000. But there's a lot of other things going on here, right? And so we have our first real constraint isn't until COBOP. You can see here you got all the ats or aboves in the FMS until we get to 2,200. That's the first, like, hey, you need to cross this at 2,200. Everything else is at or above. Let me go direct to paint that one more time. Alright, so that'll help us get on course a little better. Yeah, we got some nice rain. Alright, let's make sure we got our landing lights, seatbelts are on. That's interesting. Let's just make sure. Okay, everything's looking good here. I'm going to go ahead and get me an activation. So we're going to go ahead and activate all that does is just gives us 170 in here and starts to, I thought it was going to bring up our approach checklist, but it did not. Interesting. We do have the magenta line here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go vertical speed. We're going to put in just a very slight, well, first of all, before we do that, we're going to go Cobop at 2,200 feet. We're going to go right to the final approach fix, 2,200 feet. Put in a little bit of ES. 500 feet down. $400 feet down, actually. Once we cross the TOD, that's when we'll hit VNAV. We want to make sure we do not go below 4,000 though, because that's not in a constraint quite yet. Okay, now we're crossed. VPath 4,000 becomes the next constraint. We're good. You could see us working here. It did bring up the descent checklist. So we've already been through all of this. Approach. Seatbelts on. Check. Landing lights on. Altimeters are set. Cabin altitude check. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and pull with power and let's get back to 220. As a matter of fact, now we can start to zero in on 170. I'll be okay with 180, but let's just zero it back. We should be making a right-hand turn right now. You can see kind of where we're at. I don't want to cheat, but you know, we're looking at it. And it should hold us here until Habra. And so I want to be careful with our speed. You can see the speed wants to drop right away. So I want to maintain at least 180 unless ATC is telling us something different. So now we have VPath, all right, 4,000. I'm now going to activate the approach. Silver Wings 233, contact tower on, oh, where's our tower? Where's our tower? 124.33. 24.33, Silver Wings 233. Have a great day. Boom. Put it in. Orlando Tower. Let's just make sure what we got. Orlando Tower, Silver Wings 233 on the RNAV, runway 18 left. Silver Wings 233, winds are 084 at 5. Cleared to land, runway 18 left. Cleared to land, 18 left, Silver Wings 233. Okay, here we go. Okay, you can see we're holding strong. We're holding strong. And then as soon as we hit Habra, man, it's going to go down. And we watch our speed is going to shoot up. When does vertical flight profile kick in, you ask? Let's go ahead and drop us back. Let's go ahead and get down below 180 and we'll hit our first notch of flaps. Okay, first notch of flaps is going in. It will be about 2.5 miles, 2 miles in front of our final approach fix. That vertical flight profile will kick in. Final approach fix, we do want to have our, it's 6.5 out, that's when we'll put our gear down. So we're coming up on an intermediate fix. So everything is working so far so good. Let's keep it at 160. You can see it, the magenta keeps clicking lower. All right, here we are. We're at vertical flight profile is green. Time to put down the landing gear. Now that it's green, we can now go ahead and put our missed approach to 4,000. So it's kind of like going glide scope on the localizer. Okay, before landing checklist. Cabin crew, hey, we're landing. Landing gear 3 green. Flaps, here we go. Let's go ahead and give us one more flap. We'll wait on power management. Now goes to takeoff. TLU low speed, check. Icing, no lights, check. External lights, yep, we did put down our gear, so now let's go ahead and get everything on. We're ready. So 300 feet is our bogey for our continuing. 300 feet. We are now stable on approach. Before landing checklist is now complete. I'm putting one more notch of flaps down. So that's our last notch of flaps. We have 3 green, 35 degrees of flaps. We're going towards our approach speed. Missed approach will be a climbing right turn, right? Climb to 500 feet, then climbing right to 4,000, direct to camp. And do we have it in here? Yes. 500, right to camp. You could see it right there. Be quick. Okay, we're at, we are now at 1,000 above the airfield. Approach speed is at 114. We're trying to dial in at 112. It's looking good. Have our last fix, which is a mile, 1.3 mile out. As soon as we pass it, it should say 1.3.
500.
To the threshold, it says 2.2, which we know is not true. It's 1.3. All right, so let's go ahead and we are getting a little low. It's a low. Let's get some power going. So there's a good video out there, Island Hopper, on some of the issues with the RNAV, particularly the GPS, which could affect the glide path. But
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay. We'll go to the next one. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Wow. Did too good of a job. Let's go ahead and get our flaps up. Is that 40? Let's Take the high speed turn off. Yeah. I mean, we're not on VATSIM. We know we should have probably just gone off that first one, but that's okay. We weren't really demoing a landing. We were just kind of demoing how in the world to do an RNAV. And here we are. I think that's airside. We want to go airside A, which is over here. And I don't know if we can go around. Yeah, I think we can. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit the parking brake. Let's turn our radar off. Didn't work anyway. Gust lock. Let's get it on. Flaps are up. Trims, we're good. Landing and strobe lights, of course. Probe heats and true. No anti-ice. Okay. And let's go ahead and hit the chrono. Do I... So here we go. Do I abide by this 2-minute thingy? And go control lever all the way to 0? No. It does not taxi good. If you need to make a right-hand turn, you're screwed. So anyway, I will go to feather. Will I save a little bit of gas? I don't know. We'll take a look. We'll take a look. So right now I got fuel flow of 35 each. So we'll wait for 2 minutes and then we'll go to feather. Okay, let's go ahead and taxi and we'll do this little demo. And I'll talk along the way. That's where we want to go, airside A. I think it's airside A. I don't know. Gate 13. Airside Alpha. So anyway, so understand what this was. This was a demo where we were just trying to get better. Strictly a mission. And the whole idea for us was we are leaving a waypoint on the arrival where it's vectored. So there's just no straight line from the last waypoint to the first waypoint on the approach. Or they're not even the same point and there's no line, right? We have a discontinuity. We have a manual and then discontinuity and then the first waypoint of the approach. And so in those scenarios, how do we handle it in the ATR? So hopefully this will give some folks some insight. Yes, the GPS distances are wrong. We just saw that. But was the glide scope kind of off? Well, we were passing constraints on a 3-degree glide scope right on the money. Now we were a little low at the end, which I found interesting, but we'll just have to keep monitoring that. If we were in true IMC and we were down to minimums, yeah, that might have been a problem. We would have broke out at 300, which is 200 feet above the ground, and we might have seen a bunch of trees and not the runway. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. I'll have to go back and look at the video. That doesn't change the fact that our approach in how we were able to then go direct to. So once we're on manual and then we get the clearance to go direct to our initial approach fix, what do we do from there? So we hit direct to. We were good. We then lowered our, we knew it was direct to at 4,000 or above. And so we What was that? I think 13's up over here. So we went ahead and put in the altitude of our final approach fix, and then once we hit the and that might have been a problem. That certainly could have been a problem, because as soon as we went over our TOD, and that allowed us to put VPath into play. Let's see. Here we go. There's 13 right there. Yep, not good enough. Put us back. All right. Once we got the VPath where we wanted it, VPath was going to take us down to 2,200 feet. But we were told at or above 4,000 feet on the first initial approach fix. So we do run the risk of actually crossing below that initial approach fix of 4,000 by putting in 2,200 feet. A couple ideas around that is once we went, I think. Oh no, here's what it was. All right, sorry, I'm dumbing up on you guys. We put in, instead of waiting, that's right, that's what we did. We went ahead and put in a vertical, yeah, let me back up. As we were approaching TOD on the magenta line, on our way direct to the initial approach fix, which was ZANTI, we put in a vertical, we put in a vertical speed of 1,000 foot per minute descent. We had in there not 4,000 feet, which is probably the better practice. Was probably, instead of going and putting our final approach altitude in there when we were on vertical speed, we probably should have just gone 4,000 feet. And so that ensures that we will not ever be below 4,000 feet once we get to ZANTI. So if I had to do it over again, that's probably what we do when we do the vertical. And the reason why we're doing that is we don't want as soon as we cross over and we hit VPath, we don't want like a 1,700 to 2,000 foot per minute descent rate. We want to kind of gradually go into it. And so that's what we did. And then once we get on VPath and we get the 4,000 magenta, that's when we probably at that point should go to the final approach fix of 2,200 feet. That's probably the only thing I would have done differently on this approach. Now that we get, kind of look at it again. But be that as it may, I thought everything else worked the way it should. I thought the buttonology worked well. Again, down here, when we look at the FMS and the nautical miles too, when we went to Napa, it should be 1.3, right? It's not. It wasn't showing 1.3, right? Because the next waypoint was runway 18 left, which is the threshold. It's 1.3. It showed 2.2. It showed 0.9. It showed almost a mile off. Well, and of course and so it was going to the middle of the runway. It was literally going to the middle of the runway. Let me see if I can pull up the do I have a runway, a chart for is this Orlando? This is Orlando. So 18 left is 12,000 feet. That's a mile. It's a mile to the midway point at least, right? I mean, yeah. So it was showing us, and this is a big airport. I mean, we're not flying out of Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas. I mean, this is a big airport here. So we would have thought we would have had it buttoned up a little bit, but that is an issue. So but did it affect us? Only if it affects our glide path. And for the most part, we were hitting I'll go back and take a look, but we were hitting everything along the way. The only thing is, you think about it, if it wants us to touch down halfway, wouldn't we be high? It kind of recalibrates, right? And if we're 2.2 miles away, it would want us higher. And then it would show that we're below glide path all the way in. So we'll have to go back and look at the video and just to see how it goes. But again, guys, appreciate your time. Didn't mean to ramble on here at the end, but I wanted us to be able to see this type of an approach. If you're struggling with the RNAV approaches in the ATR, it doesn't have to be a struggle. There's just different ways that you're going to get cleared on VATSIM into the RNAV, and this is one of them. And then the next time, what we're going to do, we're just going to do a straight up vector to the final approach course, similar to how you would be vectored onto an ILS. You say, well, that doesn't happen. They'll just clear us direct to a waypoint. Not so fast. You know, what if they want us in between Zanti and Habra? What if they're vectoring in a whole bunch of traffic? They might not just clear us straight to Habra. We might be coming close in here, and they just might, say, hey, in our scenario, it could have been, it would be fly 150, turn right, heading 150, and join the approach course. Okay. He didn't give us a 2. He didn't give us at or above. He just said, turn right, heading 150, or she could have said, turn right, 150, and join the final approach course. And then they could have said, maintain 4,000 until established, cleared for the RNAV 18 left. Couldn't get it. And so they could have said that, and then, okay, turn right heading 150 and join the final approach course, maintain 4,000 until established, cleared for the RNAV 18 left. Boom. And that is what we're going to do next time. Are we going to do it on this runway? Probably not. We're going to do it at another one, and probably at another airport. Just so, the first one was in Tampa. Now this one was in Orlando, and maybe the next one we'll do Fort Lauderdale. So anyway, guys, it's been a blast. You guys have a good one. If you have any issues with the ATR, or you want us to demo something, go ahead and put it out there. We'll be more than happy to get it posted, on the YouTube site. SilverAirwaysVirtual.com. There's a page on operations, ATR resources, with a ton of videos on how-tos and troubleshooting, other things. So help yourself take a look at that. The ATR definitely gets a bad rap. I saw it the other day where someone in a forum said, it's dog water. So, well, it's not perfect. It is an intermediate step. I feel from a complex twin in the general aviation world, this is what you would step up into perhaps, and or maybe you go into a King Air and then this. But either, be that as it may, well, maybe you go into the Caravan, and you get some turbine experience, turboprop experience, and then go into the whatever. But this is a good step too, because this cockpit, man, if I were to take the A320 and put it next to this, you'd be like, oh my goodness. So I enjoy flying it. I know there's a ton of people on VATSIM that enjoy flying it. And we just want to find workarounds. We want to show people, yes, you can fly this, you know, and it can be fun. Are they going to come out with another? I mean, here we are, we're sitting in September of 2024 on the date of this video. Are they done with coming out with updates? Are they going to do more updates? Hopeful that they do more updates. There's a lot more that they can do. But I think there's some other things that, you know, that will also start to direct on. I mean, just the other day, we couldn't start up the left engine. The other day, we couldn't start up the right engine. We couldn't get it into hotel mode. I mean, stuff like that happens. It feels like it's a random gremlin sometimes that just comes up. Are we doing anything wrong? I'm not sure. We've got it in dev mode. We can go to tools, behaviors. We can now, you know, try to dig into, if you think it's an electrical issue, we can kind of dig in and take a look at things. You know, there's things that we're discovering on how we can maybe solve on our own before these updates come out with workarounds, right? All right, guys. Yes, I know we paid money and we shouldn't have workarounds. I get that. But, you know, it wasn't a whole heck of a lot of money, and no one promised it that this would be a Phoenix, you know, or a Black Square, or a Just Flight, you know, analog type version, study level aircraft. Maybe they did say study level, but I don't know. Maybe that was YouTubers that said that, but that's kind of my level set with this aircraft. Anyway, guys, you guys have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the ATR. Until next time, we've burned a lot of fuel just sitting here yapping. But until next time, clear skies and warm tailwinds. Buster, take it away.